Overwatch Season 6 kicked off, but not to all positive reception, especially the release on Steam, which is getting absolutely review bombed, and the game is getting more hate than ever before. But is that hate justified, and are creators like myself actually responsible for this level of hate? There's a lot we gotta break down and talk about, but press that subscribe button and I'll get Aaron on speed dial and tell him to nerf your least favorite character, and let's jump in. When games release on Steam, typically the community of that game likes it, right? Because you get more eyes on your game, there's more people watching content, and it's typically a win-win for everybody. A lot of people like using Steam, and they don't want to have to use another client, and they could just easily download the game, plus you give the game free publicity. But in Overwatch's case, it might have just completely backfired. Overwatch has been getting so many negative reviews on Steam that they are sitting at overwhelmingly negative, where only 9% of people are voting for them positive in any way, and these people oftentimes are just making a joke and they're suggesting other games to play. Somehow Overwatch is receiving more negativity than I've seen any other game receive, but why is that true? Is it justified, and who's responsible for it? Well, SK, a known Twitch streamer and YouTuber, said this, quote, "All these negative reviews piss me off because there is so much to actually complain about with Overwatch 2 right now, but they're all bringing up things from forever ago and have clearly not touched the game in years if they've ever even played it." And this could be a rather negative point because honestly, most of these negative comments are people that don't even actively play the game, grind the game. Most people that play the game right now wouldn't even swap to Steam anyways. And while there's a ton of stuff to criticize Blizzard for and a ton of stuff to criticize Overwatch for, if it's not critical criticism, like it's not meant to target the problems of the game today, and just because you hate the idea of Overwatch 2 or you're just hopping on the bandwagon of hate without actually grinding or playing the game, it just seems pretty silly. And yeah, I mean, it's like complaining about something that you don't even know. What are you doing complaining about it? If anyone, we should be able to complain about it, not some random people that don't even play the game, right? But some people are more targeted with the reason that this is happening to this extent. Dante, former pro, said this: Overwatch content creators, quote, "Overwatch Season 3, worst season yet. Is Overwatch 2 dead?" And then another quote, "Guys, IDK why Overwatch 2 is getting review bombed. It's such a good game, and I feel sorry for the devs. They work so hard." And he's not talking about SK here. He's talking about just a lot of different creators. Just honestly, every creator, myself included, just creators that like to post about the general feeling in the community, the goods, the bads, and just basically talk about how Overwatch is doing. And oftentimes this comes off as super clickbaity and headliney, but I don't really think that this perfectly hits the mark. As much as I do understand that creators, content creators like myself, are responsible for some of the negativity that is happening just overall with Overwatch, this is not something that just came out of left field. It didn't just come out from nowhere. Most of the content creators inside Overwatch were just echoing the larger sentiment. I mean, just look at the bigger creators that talked about when Overwatch just canceled PvE. Creators like Ludwig, The Actman, Moist Critical, all these creators, they aren't Overwatch creators, but they talked about the situation and garnered a ton of hate and resentment towards pretty much the entire gaming community that have all at least played Overwatch at least one time, but they don't even play it anymore. But now they have a reason to hate Overwatch even more. And often these are the people that are leaving so many negative reviews on Steam, most likely. So even without any negative posting from a lot of people in the Overwatch community, I promise you the sentiment around Overwatch would not be any different from, you know, anything that's happening right now, especially on Steam, because maybe the inside community would not be as negative all the time about Overwatch, but the outside community looking in, I promise you it would be the exact same. So to say anything different, I don't think looks at the big picture. But in all fairness, creators like myself and others are not completely off the hook here, because you gotta understand, negativity gets views. People like to watch negative stuff. People like to click negative stuff. This title might even be negative. So if you watch to this point, I mean, you can't even deny with this point at all, because negativity is something that people like to talk about. Whether you feel super negative about the game or if you're really positive about the game, you're more likely to click on a negative, overly negative, or overly positive video. Having anything lukewarm on the internet typically just doesn't work as a creator, so people typically go to one end or the other. And this is not always done intentionally. It's just, even if your points are not hot and cold, oftentimes you want your titles and thumbnails to be hot and cold. And this is not really unique to just like content creators talking about video games. I mean, it infects like our pop culture and politics and everything, but that's a conversation for another day. But another part of this that I think is also important to understand is a lot of content creators are just human. And have you ever woke up one day, you were excited to grind Overwatch and you played it, and you were having fun, maybe you had a couple of good games with your friends and you were feeling good, and then another day you played Overwatch, you died to like the same type of characters or whatever you did, nothing went right, and you just hate Overwatch, right? You can feel really great about the game one day and really terrible about the game the other day, and creators are not different. They can have really good days and they can have really bad days. And I think every person who has been grinding for Overwatch, you know, for 4, 5, 6, 7 years has a love-hate relationship with the game. I think everyone can agree with that. Now, me personally, ever since Season 6, I've been liking the game. I've been liking the content. I've been liking all the stuff to talk about. I have, like, a whole suite of videos planned. Like, I'm hyped. I like it because I remember back when Overwatch, towards the tail end of Overwatch 1, where it was just a drought, man. It was a drought, and I was grinding this game every single day, and it wasn't even that negativity would get views. Nothing would get views. No one cared. Like, just no one cared about the game. And if people actually care, if people care enough to go to Steam and write tons of negative reviews, if people care enough to click a video that is about negativity involving Overwatch, if people click and care about the game at all, I don't care how they care. Like, I just care that they care, right? Because I remember a time when no one cared. I remember a time when the game had no interest, no love, no hate, no nothing. It was like people were apathetic, and that's like way worse than the negativity that's brewing. At the end of the day, who cares about the negativity? Like, who cares? It's not really hurting anyone that much. I would say that the only people it's really hurting are the devs that are trying hard to make the game good now, and they're not given any grace because of what old devs and old company higher-up decisions have made. But that's just kind of something that they have to work through. They are starting from 0 good graces. They are starting from absolutely 0, less than 0 good graces. And maybe after 2, 3, 4, 5 years of consistent uploads, good content, and transforming Overwatch 2 into a better game, then the public opinion will sway. I promise you it will sway, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen today, tomorrow, year, even a year from now. It's not going to happen. Even if the people are different, even if the team is different, a lot of people are just going to treat Overwatch and Blizzard as the same thing and the same thing it's always been. And just like in your own personal life, where if someone does something that you don't like, you're not going to immediately trust them right again. The entire community just will not trust Blizzard until you prove yourself different for a long time, right? A long, long time. It's going to take a while. And that's just it. It is what it is. But regardless, here's the thing that I would suggest to you. I would say that if you feel a certain way about Overwatch, don't let other people tell you to feel a different way. Like, make up your own mind about things. It's okay to just go against the grain. It's okay that everyone hates a game and you like it. It's okay that everyone likes it and you like it. It's okay to like what other people like. It's fine to not go with the crowd and get swept up in the feelings of anyone. If I have an opinion about something, you can say fuck my opinion and believe something completely different, and that's cool. Never feel like you have to align with any creator you like's beliefs. Never feel like you have to believe what someone is saying, whether it's negative or positive about the game. But I do ultimately want to pass the question off to you. How do you feel about Overwatch? How do you feel about content creators talking about the game? How do you feel about Steam negative bombing Overwatch? Let me know how you feel about Overwatch Season 6 and everything down below. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you next time.